Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the English second paper class brought to you by Kishore Batayan. You know that the whole world has been infected with the deadly virus, Corona. In this situation, the government has taken decision to close down all institutions. But the Kishore Batayan page has taken an initiative to bring your classroom to your home. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Let me introduce myself to you first. My name is Laila Farhan Orin and I have been working as a lecturer in St. Joseph Higher Secondary School. If you want to join this classroom, please join as quickly as possible and share the class with your friends also so that we can create a bigger virtual classroom. Let's see how many of you have already joined with us. As we can see, a great many students have already joined and we are waiting for many students to participate. Okay, so there's more than 100 of students right now. Let me introduce myself to you first. My name is Laila Farhan Orin and the sound is perfect. Let's go. Those who are following us know that the last two classes were based on right form of verbs. And basically, in the previous two classes, we focus on the subject-verb agreement. Today, we are going to discuss about right form of verbs, the rules that are related to tense and conditionals. Let's begin. In case of universal truth and habitual fact, we always use present simple tense. So what do we know by universal truth and habitual fact? অভ্যাসগত যদি কোনো কাজ বা চিরন্তন সত্য বোঝায় তবে সেক্ষেত্রে আমরা যে টেন্সটি ইউজ করি তা হচ্ছে প্রেজেন্ট সিম্পল বা প্রেজেন্ট ইনডেফিনিট We know that in case of present simple, in case of third person singular number, we have to add s or es at the end of the verb. In other cases, we can just use the base form of the verb. Let's see the example. The earth moves round the sun. এই এক্সাম্পলটি আমাদের একটি ইউনিভার্সাল ট্রুথ বা সত্যকে প্রকাশিত করে On the other hand, the second one, ice floats on water. This is also an example of universal truth or a general fact. In these cases, what we have done? Look at the first example. The earth moves round the sun. The subject of this sentence is the earth, which is third person singular number. And for that reason, the S has been added at the end of the verb move. Now let's look at the second one. Ice floats on water. We know that the base form of floats is float and S has been added with float because the subject here is third person singular number. If you watch the previous lesson of right form of verbs, you are going to have a clear description of this rule. Now this is the second rule, modal auxiliary verbs. In case of modal auxiliary verbs such as can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, ought to, have to, must, we are going to use the present form of the verb, V1, which is known as the base form. In these cases, even if the subject is third person singular number, we are not going to add s or es, as in, he can do it easily. Here what we can see, he is third person singular number, but we are completely ignoring this fact. Why? Because the modal auxiliary verb can has been used here. For that reason, we have used the best form, do. He can do it easily. Now the second one, everyone should respect his parents. Should has been used here, which is modal auxiliary, and for that reason, we have used the present form of the verb respect. Now lastly, the third one, it may rain today. may have been used, and for that reason, rain, the verb, has been used as the base form or V1. Moving on to the next rule. Time expressions such as always, regularly, sometimes, often, generally, daily, every day, occasionally, usually, and normally always follow present simple tense. That means present indefinite tense. As in, when does he take his food normally? You can see that it's an example of interrogative sentence. In case of making WH question in interrogative sentence, in present form, what do? We usually use do or does after the WH word. Here, the WH word when has been used, and since the subject of the sentence is he, which is third person singular, we have used does here. And the base form of the verb is used as take. Do not forget to give a question mark after the interrogative sentence. Now let's see the second one. A good student prepares his lessons regularly. Regularly has been used. অর্থাৎ নিয়মিতভাবে প্রায়শই কোনো কাজ যদি করা বোঝায়, যেটা আমরা প্রায়ই করি, মাঝে মাঝেই করি, প্রতিনিয়ত করি, এই ধরনের ক্ষেত্রে আমরা যে টেন্সটা ইউজ করব তা হবে প্রেজেন্ট সিম্পল বা প্রেজেন্ট ইনডেফিনিট। Moving on to the next rule. Time expressions such as yesterday, ago, long ago, last year, last week, last month, that day, day before, always follow past indefinite tense. Why are we using past indefinite tense in these cases? Yesterday, গতকাল, গত সপ্তাহ, গত মাসে, আগে, পূর্বে যদি আমি কোনো কাজ বলি, আমরা জানি আমরা যে টেন্সটি ইউজ করি সেটি হচ্ছে past indefinite. That means when an action took place before now in the past, we always use past indefinite or past simple. For this reason, the examples that have been shown here, for example, I went to Cox's Bazar last month. The time expression that have been used here is last month. গত মাসে, আমি গত মাসে Cox's Bazar গিয়েছিলাম. For that reason, we have used went. So dear students, whenever you find this type of expressions like long time ago, last month, you have to use past indefinite tense, V2 form of the verb. In case of go, we have used the past form went, and in this case, we have used the past form of leave, that is lived. So you have to remember this time expressions basically. If you identify this time expressions in any type of sentence, what you are going to do? You are going to use past indefinite tense. The expressions now, at this time, at this moment, or at present, or at this time, always use present continuous tense. What do we mean by present continuous? Whenever I'm referring to an action that is happening right now at the time of speaking, we are going to use present continuous tense. কোনো একটা কাজ চলমান অবস্থায় আমরা যে টেন্সটা দিয়ে বর্ণনা করি সেটাকে বলা হয় প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস। নাও অ্যাট দিস মোমেন্ট, অ্যাট প্রেজেন্ট বলতে আমরা কি বুঝাই? এই মুহূর্তে। তার মানে এই মুহূর্তে যে কাজটি চলছে সেটি আমরা প্রেজেন্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স দিয়ে দেখাতে পারি। ফর এক্সাম্পল, he is singing a song now. Now the expression that you have to focus on is now, or in the second example, at this moment, right now, এই মুহূর্তে যে কাজটি চলছে। In this type of time expressions, what have we done? We have used the subject at the beginning, as in he, I. We have used the be verb, am, is, or you can use are also. We have used ing with the base form of the verb. So what is the structure of present continuous tense? I'm going to repeat it once again. At first you have to put the subject, then the be verb am, is or are depending on the subject, verb plus ing, and then the time expression or the rest of the sentence. In case of third person singular number, for example, he, she, it, or any kind of singular noun, we are going to use is. In case of I, we have to use am as be verb, and in other cases like we, they, you, or any other kind of plural noun, we are going to use are. Moving on, time expressions such as just now, recently, already, lately, ever, yet, always use present perfect tense. Now, what do we mean by present perfect tense? When an action happened before now, but the result is still there, that means the event or the action has already been completed, but the result or the effect is still present, we are going to use present perfect tense. কোনো একটা কাজ শেষ হয়ে গিয়েছে, কিন্তু সেটার যে ইফেক্ট অর্থাৎ সেটার যে রেজাল্ট বা ফলাফল তা যদি এখন পর্যন্ত বর্তমান অবস্থায় থাকে, তবে সেক্ষেত্রে যে টেন্সটি আমরা ইউজ করি সেটি হচ্ছে প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট। Now this type of time expressions such as just now, recently, already, এগুলো দ্বারা কে বোঝায়? এই মাত্র বা সম্প্রতি, সাম্প্রতিক সময়ে বা কিছুক্ষণ আগে মাত্র যদি কোনো কাজ শেষ হয়, এই টাইম এক্সপ্রেশনগুলো আমরা যদি সেন্টেন্সে পাই, তবে আমরা ইউজ করব প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট টেন্স। ফর এক্সাম্পল, দ্য ফার্স্ট ওয়ান, হি হ্যাজ টেকেন হিজ লাঞ্চ জাস্ট নাও। সে এইমাত্র তার দুপুরের আহার গ্রহণ করেছে। তার মানে তার দুপুরের আহারটা গ্রহণ করা শেষ হয়ে গিয়েছে, কিন্তু ফলাফলটি বিদ্যমান। ফর দ্যাট রিজন উই হ্যাভ ইউজড হ্যাজ টেকেন হিয়ার, দ্যাট ইজ present perfect. Now, what is the structure of present perfect tense? We have to use the subject at the beginning, then we have to use have or has, then the V3 form of the verb. V3 means past participle form of the verb, and then the rest of the sentence. Let's look at the second one. They have already come home. তারা ইতিমধ্যে বাসায় চলে এসেছে। I have met him recently. আমি সাম্প্রতিক সময় তার সাথে দেখা করেছি। So recently, the time expression that has been used here is referring to something that has finished already, but the result is still there. For that reason, we have used present perfect tense. In these cases, we have to use has in case of third person singular number. In other cases, we are going to use have. And yes, do not forget to use the past participle or the V3 form of the verb. Now it's time for a quiz. So we have so far covered 5 or 6 rules. Let's check if you have really understood it or not. So the first question is, where you go now? This is the pattern that you're going to have in your exam also. You're going to have a blank here, and in the bracket you're going to have the verb, the base form of the verb. What we have to do? We have to write the correct form of the verb here. So students, send me your messages, so let me know if you have understood the topic or not. What will be the answer of this one? Where you go now. Let's check. Okay, so Mehrima has written Bella. Mehrima are going. Sadia Rahman going. Mintu Ranjan Thor has written going. Ruhi going. Naushin Tabassum are going. Mahfuz Ahmed are going. Kanta Chaudhary going. Naim Islam are going. Champa Kunja are going. Shagor Haldar Shanto. Fine. So I think most of you have understood it, but there is a kind of confusion. Let me check. So in this case, many of you have given me the answer going. But if we are going to put going only in here, is the sentence becomes meaningful? For example, where you going now? Where is the be verb? Where is are? In this case, what you have to do is, in the gap, you're going to write are going. So the answer is going to be, where are you going now? Do not forget to use the be verb, because that's very important. Now the second question. He often carry an umbrella. Look at the time expression often here and send me the answer. Okay, so we are going to get some answers here. Rifa Zarif carries, Naim Islam carries, Mehrima Bella carried. Carried, okay, fine. Mehrima, we are talking about the time expression often. Rifa carries, Bhuiya, Muhammad Bhuiya carries, Ruhi carries, Yasin Arafat has written carries, Sayeda Rahnuma, you have also written carried. Tahira Haq carries. Okay, so the right answer is going to be carries. Why carries is the right answer here? Because often, প্রায়ই, it has been used in this sentence as a time expression. Carry, যখন আমি প্রায়ই কোনো কিছু করি, what are we going to use? We are going to use the present form, the present indefinite. So the answer is going to be carries. Now students, I have written the full sentence here. But in your exam, you're going to have A, B in this before the blank. So you don't have to reproduce the full sentence. You can just write A, B, C, D and then write the correct answer only. Only the verb will be enough for you to get the mark. Now this is the third question. Have you seen her lately? You have to use the correct form of the verb see. Send me the message. Let me know if you have understood or if you have been good about. It's very attentive in the class. Mehrim Bella, Shoren Ador Seen, Naushin Tabassum Sim, Rifa, Mukti Seen, Fariduddin Seen has been used here. Shamproti. For that reason, we have used the correct form of the verb seen. Thank you so much for sending your feedbacks or for sending the answers so quickly, and please stay with us. We are moving on to the next rule. So now we are going to talk about for or since. For or since, when they are being referred to as duration or the time when the action starts, we are going to use present perfect continuous tense. Now what do I mean by this? আমরা জানি present perfect continuous tense এ আমরা কি ধরনের verb use করি? কোনো একটা কাজ অনেক সময় ধরে বা কিছু সময় ধরে বর্তমান পর্যন্ত চলছে. That means the event or the action has started before now and it has been continued up to the moment. In these cases, we are going to use for or since to mention the duration or to mention the time when the action starts. For আমরা ইউজ করি duration বা ব্যাপ্তিকাল বোঝাতে. অন্যদিকে since আমরা ইউজ করি কোনো একটা কাজ কখন শুরু হয়েছিল, সেই কাজটি যখন থেকে শুরু হয়েছিল সেই টাইমটি বোঝাতে. For example, Rifat has been reading for 3 years. Rifat has been reading for 3 years. তার মানে রিফাত 3 বছর ধরে, oh, I'm so sorry. I think I should read 3 hours here. I'm so sorry for that. It should be hours. Rifat has been reading for 3 hours. In this case, what we have used? We have used the subject at the beginning. We have used has been. We have used verb plus ing. Then the time expression for. Why have we used for here? Because this is referring to a duration. কত সময় ধরে বা ব্যাপ্তিকালটা কি সেটা যেহেতু আমরা বোঝাচ্ছি, for that reason we have used for here and then the time expression 3 years. So what you have to focus on here is if you find for or since in a sentence and that has been referring to a duration or the time when the action starts, we are going to use present perfect continuous tense. I guess you already know what is the structure of present perfect continuous tense, but still I'm going to repeat it once again. Present perfect continuous tense এ আমরা প্রথমে subject ব্যবহার করি, then we use have been or has been. See here, has been. Then we are going to use the verb plus ing. Then we are going to use the rest of the sentence with the time expression since, and then the rest of the sentence. Now in this case, you are going to focus on since or for. যখনই তুমি সেন্টেন্সে দেখবে since আছে বা for আছে, রাইট ফর্ম অফ ভার্বস ইউজ করার জন্য প্রথমে খেয়াল করবে যে এটি কি ব্যাপ্তিকাল বোঝাচ্ছে কিনা, অথবা এই কাজটি কোন সময় শুরু হয়েছিল সেটি বোঝাচ্ছে কিনা। যদি ব্যাপ্তিকাল বা কাজটি কখন শুরু হয়েছিল তা বোঝায়, তাহলে আমরা প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস টেন্স ইউজ করব। I'm repeating it once again. We are going to have the subject, have been or has been, verb plus ing, and then the rest of the sentence or the time expression. Now there's another uses of since. What is that? It can function as a conjunction also. Since কোনো একটা সেন্টেন্সে conjunction হিসেবেও ব্যবহৃত হতে পারে। For example, look at this one. It is many years since I came to Dhaka. So what is the main function of conjunction? We know that a conjunction joins two words or two sentences, two parts of the sentence. So here in the first example, there has been two parts. It is many years, it is one part. I came to Dhaka, that is another part. And these two parts have been joined by since. So this is the conjunction here. যখন আমরা since কে কোনো সেন্টেন্সে conjunction হিসেবে পাবো, in this case there's a formula to use. What's that? If you have present indefinite or present perfect before since, then we are going to use past indefinite after that. Since এর আগে যদি তোমার সেন্টেন্সে প্রেজেন্ট টেন্স থাকে, সেটা হতে পারে ইনডেফিনিট, সেটা হতে পারে পারফেক্ট। সেক্ষেত্রে পরবর্তী যে পার্টটা থাকবে সেখানে আমরা ইউজ করব পাস্ট ইনডেফিনিট। দ্যাট মিনস দ্য V2 form of the verb. Look at this one. It is many years since I came to Dhaka. আমি ঢাকায় আসা অনেক দিন হয়ে গিয়েছে, অনেক বছর হয়ে গিয়েছে। So what we are seeing here, it is many years. Subject is. This is present indefinite tense. The conjunction that has been used here is since. After that we have past indefinite. I came. Subject, then the V2 form of the verb. Now let's look at the second structure. If you have past indefinite before since, then we are going to use past perfect after that. আগে যদি past indefinite থাকে, তাহলে পরে আমরা কি লিখব? Past perfect. For example, it was many years. So was যেহেতু ব্যবহার হয়েছে, this is the V2 form of am is are. For that reason, we have used they had. Subject plus had plus V3, met. Met, we have used met here. This is the past participle form of meet. I'm repeating the rule once again. Since, if it is being used as the conjunction of the sentence, if the first part is in present tense, then in the second part we are going to use the past indefinite. But in the first part, if you have past indefinite, then in the second part we are going to use past perfect. প্রথম অংশে যদি প্রেজেন্ট থাকে ইনডেফিনিট বা পারফেক্ট, তাহলে আমরা পরের অংশে কি করব? পাস্ট ইনডেফিনিট। সিন্সের আগে প্রথম অংশে যদি পাস্ট ইনডেফিনিট থাকে, তাহলে আমরা পরের অংশে কি করছি? পাস্ট পারফেক্ট। Now this one, before or after. Two actions happened, one before or after another. Before বা after দিয়ে যদি একটির পরে আরেকটি কাজ অথবা একটির আগে আরেকটি কাজ বোঝায়, That means there will be two actions here that is going to happen one after another or one before another. একটার আগে একটা অথবা একটার পরে আরেকটা কাজ যদি বোঝায়, in that case we are going to use past perfect tense. But here there's another structure that we have to follow. ছোটবেলায় আমরা সবাই একটি ট্রান্সলেশন শিখেছি, ডাক্তার আসিবার পূর্বে রোগী মারা গেল। আজকে আমরা এই ধরনের কোনো ট্রান্সলেশন করব না, কিন্তু এই ট্রান্সলেশনটা করতে যে আমরা অনেকে কিন্তু কনফিউজড হয়ে যেতাম that where we are going to use the past perfect and where we are going to use the past indefinite. Let me show you a very short trick. Before, what's the meaning of before? Before অর্থ আগে। মনে রাখতে হবে before এর আগে perfect বসে। after অর্থ পরে, তাহলে after এর পরে আমি past perfect বসাবো। So what you have to remember, if we are having before or after, যদি before থাকে, before অর্থ আগে, তাহলে আমরা past perfect আগে বসাবো। after অর্থ পরে, so past perfect এর অংশটা যাবে after এর পরে। The rest part of this sentence is going to be in past indefinite. For example, the students had stood up before the teacher entered into the classroom. The students had stood up. So we have used before here, age. For that reason, we have used past perfect tense, had stood. And the second part, teacher entered. Here we have used V2 form, past indefinite. Now the same sentence has been used here in a reverse form using after. The students stood up after the teacher had entered into the classroom. Since we have used after here, we know that আমরা কি করব, after এর পরে আমরা perfect টা দিচ্ছি. For that reason, we have used after the teacher had entered into the classroom. I'm going to repeat the structure of present indefinite and present perfect once again. If you have past indefinite. If you have past indefinite, we are going to have the subject, we are going to have the V2 form of the verb, and then the object. অন্যদিকে যদি আমরা past perfect লিখি, if we are going to write past perfect, we are going to have the subject, we are going to have had, then we are going to use the V3 form, past participle form of the verb. So far we have seen another 3 rules using for, since, for, and the use of before and after. Now it's time for a quiz again. What is going to be the answer of this sentence? 5 years pass since his father died. You have to use the correct form of the verb pass here. What is going to be the correct answer? What do you think? Let me know. Let's see. Okay, some of you have written have past, some of you have written had past. Toashin Ahmed has written has past. Faisal Durjo, Rifa have past. Chinmoy had past. Shagor Haldar likheche have past. Milva Islam have past. Shaun have past. Khorshid Alam have past. Deepa had past. So there is a confusion here. Some of you have written had past, some of you have written have past. In this case, what you have to focus on is the second part, father died. So এখানে subject, then the V2. তাহলে পরে, since এর পরে যদি subject এবং V2, তার মানে past indefinite থাকে, তাহলে আগে কি হবে? Okay, so let's see. Ashik Mahmood have passed. Obhijit Paul have passed. Yes, the answer is going to be have passed. আগেই বলেছিলাম since এর আগের অংশে যদি conjunction হিসেবে since use হয়. So in the first case, if you have present indefinite or present perfect, then in the second part we are going to have past indefinite. Since we already have past indefinite here, after since, so before that, what we are going to use? We are going to use the present perfect form, have passed. Now it's time for the second question. The patient died before he was taken to hospital. The patient died before he was taken to hospital. Send me your answers. Okay, many students are already replying to me. Had died, Tahira Haq. Naushin Tabassum had died. Rifa Zarif had died. Polash Burman had died. Sadi Rahman had died. Fatima had died. Mahfuz Khorshid Alam has also written had died. Yasin Arafat Mahi half past. Half past was the previous question. Muhammad Samsul Alam had died. Priya Islam had died. Promith Debnath had died. Ritika had died. Yes, you all are correct. Congratulations. The answer is going to be the patient had died before he was taken to hospital. Look at this part. He was taken to hospital. It's written as passive voice. For that reason, since it is passive voice and we know that it is he was taken, তার মানে এটা আছে past indefinite form-এ। Before এর আগে তাহলে কি হবে? We already know that. Before we are going to use past perfect. So we have written the patient had died. Students, I'm repeating it once again. When you have to answer this type of question, you're going to have the blank here and you're going to have the number like A, B, C, D or Roman 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, you don't need to reproduce or rewrite the sentence. You can just write had died in this part. শুধুমাত্র সঠিক উত্তরটা had died লিখলেই হবে। Now this is the last question. We live here since 2000. Let's see who are going to be correct. We live here since 2000. Okay, so answers are coming. Abdul Rashid are living. Lived. Tahira Haq are living. Sheikh Salim, Kausar Ahmed have been living. Mahfuz Ahmed had been living. Ritika Roy have been living. Since আছে এবং এই live অর্থাৎ বাস করাটা কবে থেকে শুরু হয়েছিল সেটি দেয়া আছে। So what is going to be? Are living, have been living. Okay, have been living. Shelly have been living. Priya Islam has also written have been living. Raisa, Polash Burman are living. Apun Shaha are living. Ratan Bhattarjee have been living. Okay, yes, absolutely correct. The answer is going to be we have been living. Many of you have written lived here. আমি আবার বলছি কথাটা। Since যদি কোনো একটা কাজ কখন শুরু হয়েছে সেটা বোঝাতে ব্যবহৃত হয় তবে আমরা কোন টেন্সটা ইউজ করব? প্রেজেন্ট পারফেক্ট কন্টিনিউয়াস। Have been living. Subject plus have or has, been plus verb plus ing, and then the time expression. So a big thanks to all of you who have sent us the answers. We are going to follow the next rule here. Had better, had rather, would rather, let, must, need, dare. This type of expressions is going to use V1, that is the base form of the verb. No S or ES is going to be added even if the subject is third person singular number in these cases. For example, you had better go home. What you can see here? So we have written the base form of the verb go. আমরা go এর যে present form base formটা সেটা ইউজ করেছি V1 formটা the present form go. Look at the second one. I won't let you do this. আমি তোমাকে এটি করতে দিব না। So since we have let, as in here, since we have let, we are going to use do. You do not have to consider the fact that here we have had, here we have won't. Forget about this. So what you have to keep in mind is, if you have had better, had rather, would better, would rather, let, must, need, dear, we are going to use the base form, present form of the verb. Would that. Would that বলতে আমরা কি বুঝি? Would that বলতে মনের এমন একটা ইচ্ছা বা উইশকে প্রকাশ করে যেটা হয়তো করাটা পসিবল হচ্ছে না। ফর এক্সাম্পল, ইফ আই সে, আমাদের মনে হয় সবারই এখন একই রকম মানসিক অবস্থা, সেটা হচ্ছে আমরা যদি বাইরে যেতে পারতাম। সো লেটস সি দিস এক্সাম্পল, উড দ্যাট আই কুড গো আউটসাইড, আমি যদি বাহিরে যেতে পারতাম। In this case, what we have done, we have used would that, then the subject, then we have used could, and after that we have used the base form of the verb go. So the structure is given here. If you have would that at the beginning of the sentence, you're going to use subject after that. You're going to have could, and then we are going to have V1. That means the present form of the verb. Would that I could go to my college. আমি যদি কলেজে যেতে পারতাম। So again, would that প্রথমে, তারপর আমরা সাবজেক্টটা লিখব, কোড লিখব, এবং তারপরে যে ভার্বটা দিব সেটি হবে অবশ্যই প্রেজেন্ট ফর্মে। Would that I could go to my college, would that I could go outside, would that I could have this dress. So আমি যদি অর্থে আমার কোন একটা ইচ্ছা প্রকাশ করতে, if we are going to express a wish of us, we are going to use would that. Now this one, to be or having. If you have to be or having in a sentence, then the verb that is going to be followed is going to be in past participle form, V3. For example, he ran away having taken the money. সে টাকাটি নিয়ে কি হয়েছে? পালিয়ে গেছে। So we have having here and we have a verb here. So verb is going to be turned into past participle form. That means the V3 form. Take, took, taken. So we have used taken here. He ran away having taken the money. Now the second one, the principal wanted the notice to be given to the students. To be. We have to be, and after that we have the verb. So we have written the past participle of the verb give, gave, given. So we have written, what have you written? We have written given here. আবার বলছি, to be অথবা having যদি থাকে এবং তারপরে আমি যদি একটি verb বসাই, সেই ভার্বটি তাহলে কোথায় হয়ে যাবে, কি ফর্মে থাকবে? সেই ভার্বটি আমরা V3 ফর্ম বা past participle ফর্মে দেব। past participle ফর্মটা আমরা ইউজ করব। Now the next rule. So this is the quiz time again. So let's see if you have understood the last two rules. To be, having, would that rules, and the rules of had better, had rather, would rather, let, must, need, dear. So I'm repeating once again. If you have had better, had rather, would rather, let, must, or need, dear, you're going to use the base form, the present form of the verb. If you have would that, we are going to use could plus the present form of the verb. If you have to be and having, we are going to use the past participle form of the verb. Now it's time for a short quiz. Our question is, would that I can do it. You have to use the correct form of the verb can in this blank. Tell me the answer, send me the answer in your comment section. Okay. Shanto, Deepa, Samsul, Raton, Abhijit, Tahira is with us, Akash, Mehdi, Mahfuz, Shaun. Please don't get upset if I cannot read all of your answers. Sayeda Rahnuma, could, Rifa, could, Priya Islam, could, Khorshid Alam, could. Yes, that's great. Joshim Hussain, Sadeep, that's great. All of you have made it correct. The answer is going to be could. Would that I could do it. Moving on to the second question. You had better to take a decision. Tell me what's going to be the correct one. Okay, Ajizul Islam, you're still in the previous question. Ritika Roy, she's the first one to give us the answer. Tanvir Islam, Kausar, Shamsud Zoha, Ritika Roy. Tahira, Mithu, Joshim Shishir, Mahfuz Ahmed, Mahbub Sadiq, Raisa, very constant student. Priya, Khorshad Alam, yes, thank you so much for giving us the right answer. The answer is going to be take. You had better take a decision. You had better take a decision. So I'm feeling great here because I think that this concept has been clear to all of you. Okay, so I think that we have already come to the end of the class. So before we end, we are going to clarify one thing. So this is the picture that is taken from the first class. That means the part 1 class of right formal verbs. We discussed about subject-verb agreement in this class. Now there is a mistake here. So see, here I have written in the slide, singular subjects joined by and require a plural verb, but when they mean one thing or same person, the verb becomes plural. I'm extremely sorry for this unintentional mistake. This is going to be singular. When I explained it, I have explained it correctly. Even the examples are correct, but there is a writing mistake here. So this is going to be singular. This is not plural. This is going to be singular. তার মানে and দ্বারা যুক্ত দুটো সাবজেক্ট বা দুটো নাউন যদি একই ব্যক্তি বা বস্তুকে বোঝায় তাহলে আমরা যে ভার্বটা ইউজ করব সেটি হবে সিঙ্গুলার Thank you to the person who has given us the review or the feedback. Your review is very important for us because every teacher, he or she may make a mistake. Teachers are not beyond mistakes. So thank you for giving us this feedback. For you, we have conveyed the right information to the students. So thank you. And I'm extremely sorry for this unintentional mistake. So this is the end of the class for today. Dear students, stay with us, stay at home, give us your feedbacks and comments. We are waiting for you. See you in the next class. Thank you.